Alright, what's up guys, it's Chili over here, and today we are trying out the Delhi Sultanate. Just kidding, we are actually trying out the new modded civilization Persia. This is a mod created by Hossein, and I helped with the design for this one. If you guys are familiar, there was a previous Persian mod, also made by Hossein, but this is an entirely new kind of revamped version of this design, taking some inspiration from the original design, of course. The goal here was to make a modded civ that was going to be more competitive. So let's go over how this civ works. So as normal, you're going to start queuing up your villagers, but you don't exactly go onto your sheep. You're going to immediately go over to your berries. And there's something really cool. I'm going to actually send my scout out as well. There's something really cool here. The Persian civilization has this unique building known as the Devon of Commerce. So this thing costs 50 wood and 50 gold, and what it does is it functions as an imperial official, exactly like China. So if I build it over here, you can actually supervise economic structures the same way that you might with an imperial official. The difference is, of course, it is in the form of a building. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate how that works shortly. Let's see if we can get that working here, and boom. Okay, so pressing the Q button, we can target the mill, and now whenever villagers are dropping off food, they'll actually drop off an additional 20%, I believe. There is some tricks that you can do if you have like multiple buildings in the area. You can like kind of switch back and forth, like buff up the wood when the wood villagers are dropping off, and then go back and buff up the mill when the food villagers are dropping off. But that's a little bit too complex. One thing I will also call out here is that unlike the imperial official, we don't have the little eye icon on top of it. That is unfortunately something that we can't affect in the mod. And speaking of which, I actually have Hossein 81, the creator of the mod, here with me today. Hossein, you want to say hello?
Hello everyone, I'm here and I'm creator of the mod.
Yeah, so Hossein has been doing a lot of mods for AOE4, and he's been doing them for a while now. Go check out some of his other mods. He made the Future Kingdoms pack along with a few other folks, and then he also worked on a previous Persian civ, as well as Scandinavians, the Vietnamese, and then also the Polish. Is there any other mods I'm missing out on, Hossein?
Not a civilization mod. The other one are different type of mods.
Oh, okay. What other kinds of mods have you worked on?
I mean, I have a mod called New Ways. It's just like my test field, and I make new units there and use some of them in the civilization mods.
Okay, so it's another mod with new units. Is that right?
Yeah, that's only new unit, not new seeds.
Got it.
But it's a lot of new units.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's also worth checking out too then. So the I guess I want to ask you, so like right now I'm just kind of going through the motions with Persia here. I'm almost at enough resources to age up, so I'll show you guys the landmarks that this have. What is this villager doing? I have a villager that's just dancing around. Okay, that is very awkward. But I want to ask, what were your motivations for building the original Persian civilization? Actually, just before you answer that, I'm going to show off the landmarks here real quick. So as you can see, I have 400 food and 200 gold, so I'm going to go ahead and start aging up. Now, the Persian civilization has all new landmarks to build, and the first two here that we're going to be taking a look at is the Grand Caravanserai or the Gundishapur. The Gundishapur was the palace of the Sassanid Empire, which was basically waning towards this medieval era, and then into the time period of AOE4, the Sassanids had basically collapsed, and they were replaced by the Umayyads and the Abbasid caliphates, and then later on, many other Iranian dynasties were kind of like vying for control in the central region. The Grand Caravanserai is more of a, how do I say this? Caravanserais were more of something that you would see in later periods, like in the Safavid period, which is a little bit anachronistic to put it as the feudal age landmark, but it's such a cool, interesting mechanic that we had to include it. And in this case, what it does is it functions as kind of like, it gives the Ottoman trade buff, the same one that you get from the Ottoman keep. We're going to go ahead and build a Gundishapur because I want to show you guys how that thing works. And I'm going to keep on building some more villagers in the meantime. All right, sorry about that, Hossein. So go ahead, and I would love to hear about your original motivations for building the Persian civilization.
Okay, as in Chile, you know, I'm Iranian, and like I felt a little underwhelmed when I didn't see Persia in the game, and I know the reason because of that divided region, and it had so many things. But still, I wanted to include the Civ myself, so I tried and made the mod myself.
Got it, got it. Yeah, so you actually are Iranian. I think you're in Persia right now, right? Or Iran right now.
Yeah, I'm in Iran.
And basically you're saying that like there, even though that there wasn't any, oh yeah, and you can see here we're actually scouting out Hussein's base. He's also playing as Persia, but he's a lot more developed than I am right now. But yeah, and essentially you wanted to see a Persian civilization in the game, and so you decided to make it on your own. Was this one of your first mods, or how did you get into like deciding to actually just mod it yourself?
It was my third mod actually. I mean, the first mod was very simple, so I don't want to talk about it. But my second mod was new ways. I mean, the mod I made a lot of new units.
Yeah.
And after I managed, I can work with the editor. I mean, I have to say, editor is very limited. But I managed, if when I can work with the editor that way, so why not making a new Steve with it? And then I made Persia.
Got it, got it. So you made a couple civs and you were like, okay, this is, I can actually do it. I can make my own civilization, so why not start
Yeah, I
making
mean,
Persia?
I made a few units and then I felt, I mean, this can be a sieve. So, oh, by the way, I have to add, Vam checked out the new ways and he said some of this new unit can be a new sieve actually. So that was one of the, I mean, motivation for me.
Oh, okay. So it was actually Wham that originally checked it out, and
Yes.
then that's what inspired you to actually try to build out your own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What were some like cool units that are in the New Ways mod that we haven't seen yet?
I mean, you know, the flamethrowers work in progress, but
Yep.
you, in the new sieve we are working, but it's not shown yet. Hello?
Oh yeah. That's right. You're talking about the Crusader Civ that we've been working on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's gonna be the, yeah, a little bit of a spoiler alert. That's the new Civ that we're gonna be working on next. I do want to show off some of the mechanics here. So as you guys can see, I have this here Devon of Commerce, and then I have the Gunishapur. The Gunishapur functions as a Devon of War. So every single time you age up, you can build one additional Devon. And so in this case, you can choose to build a Devon of Commerce or Devon of War. The Devon of Commerce, what it does is you can buff up economic structures like your economic drop-offs. The Devon of War can buff military structures like your blacksmiths or your barracks or your stables. And what it does is it increases production speed by 150%. So if I start pumping out spearmen here, it's going to come out really quickly. It just takes 6 seconds to pump these guys out. So very powerful. And what's really cool is that if, let's say I'm starting to get raided by archers all of a sudden, I can switch my my supervision to the stables, and now I can start pumping out horsemen at a ridiculously fast pace. So one of the advantages of the civilization, and this is from design, is essentially to be able to pump out exactly the kind of units that you want to counter your opponent on the fly really quickly. There's also, as you might have noticed, there's quite a few texts that are on the Gunishapur, as well as on this Devon of Commerce. For Persia, all of the unique texts are in one easy-to-reach location, which is in these divans. All of your texts are going to be in these divans. Hussein's over here trying to raid me with this other unique unit, which is a little bit of a sneak peek. We're gonna talk about that in just a moment. But just to quickly go over the Gunishapur text here, we have the this thing right here. You might see it's called the Khwarezmian Dynasty. So the Khwarezmian Dynasty was a medieval Persian Iranian dynasty covering roughly like modern-day Kazakhstan about. And famously, Khwarezmian Dynasty was the dynasty that got basically obliterated by the Mongols. And in this case, this is kind of like a reference to history, but the way that Persia works is that you'll notice that in the barracks, I don't have any unit upgrades. I can't upgrade my spearmen or my men-at-arms to the next age. I can't do the same thing with my horsemen either, or if I should build an archery range as well. I also can't upgrade my archers. So instead, the way this civilization works is that everything gets upgraded at once through this dynasty system. So I'm gonna go ahead and research the Khwarezmian Dynasty, and you're going to see that our units are going to start leveling up. With the Khwarezmian Dynasty, it only costs 15 food and 35 gold. This is basically, I think, half of the cost of what it would take to get all the upgrades in the Dark Age. Is that right, Hussein?
The Dark Age cost is the same. It's 1535, right?
Is that the same
Yeah,
cost as what it would take to upgrade a spearman, basically?
yeah, it's the same cost as a spearman cost.
Got it, got it. But then for the Ilkhanid, the next dynasty, that's actually, what is this? Is this like half of the cost of the total amount of upgrades?
Yes, I mean I said we have 4 units in feudal age, so the cost of all of them could be 1000 gold, 500 food, but in this case it's 500 gold, 250 food.
Got it. So it's significantly less resources to basically
Yeah.
get all of your feudal age upgrades at the same time. So that's the Ilkhanid dynasty here. Ilkhanid dynasty is the dynasty of the Mongols after they took over Persia. So we're going to go ahead and get that upgrade next. And you're going to see all of the Persian units are going to be upgrading to the next age as a result. The other thing I want to show off is these unique units here. So we have the archers, the crossbowmen, and the hand cannoniers. These are all very standard for the archery range. But we also have this Kisselbash unit, which is a very interesting, unique unit. Hossein, do you mind bringing up a Kisselbash, one of your Kisselbashes up to my scout here? Do you see where my scout is? Or actually, yeah, just bring it up to my base. Oh, actually, you got a bunch of Kisselbashes over there. Okay, yeah. So the Kisselbash is a very interesting, unique unit. It is a horse archer, and this asset, this model, is actually something that we got from the campaign. Actually, this is Turkoman horse archer from the campaign. And what this archer does is it has bonus damage versus melee units specifically. So it's absolute devastation in the feudal age for if, let's say, you're French and you're trying to run around with knights. Well, the Kisselbash is a fast-moving horse archer that is going to out-kite your knights, and they deal bonus damage against them. So this is basically the Persian answer to feudal age armored units. So now we have that Kisselbash of our own as well. The other unique unit I want to point out here is the Dalamite. You might have seen this little man-at-arms with a big axe running around. So the Dalamites were historically they were like the royal guards of the Sassanid emperors, and they come from a region known as Dalam, which is known for its mountainous terrain, and the warriors there were just particularly good at fighting as infantry, which is a bit unstandard because most Iranian warriors fought on horseback. But in any case, these were particularly powerful infantry warriors. If you get the Gundishapur as a landmark, you actually unlock the ability to train Dalamite men-at-arms in the feudal age. The Dalamite is a bit of a weird man-at-arms, though. It has one less ranged armor than normal, and it deals bonus damage versus light infantry. So it doesn't... I think all of the Persian unique units deal less damage generally. They're less good as generalists, and more specifically good against a specific target. So for the men-at-arms, for the Dalamites, that is plus damage versus light infantry. So if you send a Dalamite against say like an HRE men-at-arms, it'll get wrecked. It's not going to be able to compete. But if you send a Dalamite against a group of archers, it'll probably outperform the HRE men-at-arms against that same group of archers. So that's kind of the thinking behind this civ design. I also want to call out this tech right here, the Kamdaran. How do you pronounce this?
Kamandaran.
Kamandaran. Okay, Kamandaran. And if I recall correctly, this basically means like bow bearer or like bow holder or something like that, right?
No, it's like archers in Farsi.
Got it. Okay, so it just directly translates to archer. This,
Yes.
I believe, was also a tech in AOE 2, and that's what this tech is actually a reference to. What it does is it makes archers and Kisselbash cost 30% less wood. So Kisselbashes, if you remember, are the horse archers. So both your archers and your horse archers will cost less wood, and this is a feudal age technology, which makes it very, very strong if you want to spam archers in the feudal age. And then let's see if there's any other techs we're missing here. So the other one I want to call out here is in the Devon of Commerce, we also have some unique texts, as you can see. So the Shahanshah, which means King of Kings in Persian, essentially what it does is it increases the range of the Devons of Commerce by +2. So as you can see here, my Devon of Commerce is buffing up this lumber camp, but the radius here, this is the limit of all the structures I can potentially buff up. If I actually research this tech, I will be able to reach, I think, all the way over to the other side of the tree line. So basically, as I start creeping, as I need to reach additional structures, I start moving out, and this tech basically allows me to keep on supervising, even for the structures further out. The other one I want to show off here is, yes, I can also get the dynasty upgrades from within this structure, and I can also upgrade this unique structure, this unique tech called the Dynastic Reform. So this will improve the villager gather rate for all my villagers based on the dynasty that I'm in. So since I'm in the Ilkhanid dynasty, I will get 12%. 12%. My scout needs to shut up. Oh my god, he is making so much noise. Yeah, so right now it's giving 12%. I think one previous dynasty, if we were in the Khwarezmian dynasty, it would give 7%. And I think in the next dynasty, it will give up to 18%, if I'm not mistaken. So essentially, this is a tech where like you can choose to hold on to it. It's very cheap if you want to get it. 7% gathering rate is in the feudal age is nothing to scoff at. But if you can hold on to it and then save it for the next one, then you can get much more powerful economic upgrade. So I think that's a very interesting gameplay opportunity there. We're gonna go ahead and age up with the next landmark here, and I can show you guys what else we got. I also need to research wheelbarrow because my units are moving really slow, and I also get some more villagers. Okay, so let's take a look at what else we have here. So in the Castle Age, our two landmarks are the Samarkand Bazaar and the Assassin Brotherhood. Oh, this is super cool. So the Samarkand Bazaar is the first one that we'll talk about. It functions as an additional Devon of Commerce. So the Devon of Commerce, these were the things that could buff up your economic structures, but normal Devons of Commerce can't buff up the town center. So it doesn't allow the town center to increase drop-off, and it doesn't boost any kind of production speed in the town center. If I tried right now, I actually wouldn't be able to do it. But the Samarkand Bazaar, and Samarkand is famously a very powerful city on the Silk Road around this time period. It's the capital city of Timurlane back during when he formed the Timurid Empire. The Samarkand Bazaar is a Devon of Commerce that can also oversee town centers, markets, and docks, meaning that you can mass produce your villagers, you can mass produce your traders or your fishing boats by 150% production speed, which is insane. And because of how insane that bonus is, this landmark is actually 10% more expensive. So this is the first time that we're seeing in AOE4 a landmark that costs more to age up. It's kind of similar to the Palace of Swabia for the HRE faction, but it's more expensive instead of cheaper. The other one is the one that we're going to be building, though. This is the Assassin's Creed, not the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but the Assassin Brotherhood, and it might as well be the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood because what you do with this landmark is you literally hire assassins, and this is the tower asset. I think it's the Tower of Acre that you see in the campaign for the Sultan's Ascend. So we're gonna go ahead and build that thing up, and I'll show you guys what this bad boy can do. Hossein, I'm guessing you can't do voice chat anymore.
I can, but I have to go in 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Oh, okay. Let me take advantage of you while you're here then. I want to ask you a few last questions. So we've already shown some of the Civ here. What do you like about the Civ? How does it, I guess, what motivated you to change it? And what should people look out for, basically?
First, why did I prefer to change it? Because the first Persia, okay, first of all, that was my first civilization mod. It wasn't really good and balanced mod, and the thing was that it wasn't exactly fitting AOE4 time period and the AOE4 player style. It had it had some unbalanced things in it. What was the second question?
What are your thoughts on this Civ? Like, what gets you excited about this Civ, and what should players be looking out for when they play it?
This Civ, is much more in line with AOE4 Civ design, and the things players should look at is don't underestimate their economy and trade
Yep.
when you are playing with or versus it.
Yeah, it's a very powerful trade Civ. That's something that I should also be highlighting. I'm gonna start building some markets to show that off soon. Any other last thoughts?
No, just try it yourself and see how it goes.
Cool. Now, when you drop off, do you have to leave the game, or do you mind if I finish recording, or?
I can leave the game open.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, well, thank you so much, Hossein. I will continue monologuing, and I will assume that you are gone now, so I won't try to ask you any more questions. I want to show off this Assassin Brotherhood landmark next. So this, if you read the description here, this landmark has two abilities. It has the Spy Network, which increases the landmark's vision by 50 unit radius for 2 minutes, which is absolutely insane. You get 2 minutes of vision. Let me show you what the vision looks like. Actually, I'm gonna press the Q button here, and Boom. Do you see this mini map right here? Do you see how far I'm seeing right here? That's crazy. That's what this landmark does, and it gives you this vision for 2 whole minutes. And of course, I got this. I basically see the entire map, but I also had to build it in the middle of the map here, which is obviously a huge risk. So basically, if you have map control, you can maybe secure a really nice vision like this. If you had to build it in your base, you probably only see to like the middle of the map or something like that. So there is a bit of a cost benefit here. The other thing to consider is that the plus 50 radius for 2 minutes sounds ridiculous, but the cooldown is 3 minutes. So this is not something you can use very often. Unfortunately, due to modding restrictions, we couldn't reduce it to a more reasonable time. I would have loved to have it only be like 10 seconds of like global vision or something like that, but we couldn't quite do that. So instead, we were limited to the 2-minute thing, and we did plus 50 vision to make it a little bit more balanced. We originally tried global vision, but in team games like in 4v4s, being able to see the entire map, it was just bonkers. So it didn't make any sense. The other part of this landmark I want to show you here is the assassination contract. You pay 100 gold and you can spawn an assassin anywhere that you have vision. So since I have vision all over the map right here, you can obviously see the synergies here. I can go ahead and spawn a dude. Let's go ahead and like pick a location, and you can pick anywhere that you want, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and pick this location right here, and in a second, boom, he appears and he starts stabbing. He just starts stabbing motherfuckers just like that. he's just shanking them. So the first shot one shots because he gets the stealth bonus. So when he's exiting out of stealth, he actually gets additional power. I believe his power gets doubled. So yeah, he's dealing 50 damage with his first hit. So we're gonna go ahead and have him run over here. And you can see here, he's actually stealth. So he passively stealths. He runs out of stealth, and since the stealth ended, he didn't get his plus 50 hit, but he does 25 damage normally. So he's 2-shotting villagers. If the other player basically gets the health upgrade or gets any melee armor, this will be a way to counteract the bonus that the assassin gets. We also need to fix this spelling typo right here. The other thing that I want to point out here is that the assassin cannot attack buildings. So the only way I can deal damage to buildings, and hopefully I don't die here, the only way I can deal damage to buildings is if I sabotage it. So I have the same thing that you can do with the shinobi. You can sabotage it. So you can think of the assassin as basically like a slightly more powerful shinobi that's like a castle age kind of variant of the shinobi. And when he's in stealth, he's healing. He's got the Musafati thing going on as well. So pretty powerful unit. And let's see, what else would I want to talk about here? Let's go into trade. So I'm gonna go ahead and build some markets and build some trade. So the specific thing I want to show off here is this building that you unlock in the... Oh, I need some stone to make this work. There's a building that you can unlock in the Castle Age called the Caravanserai. Now, Caravanserais historically were basically like early day like medieval hotels for weary travelers, and they would build these essentially hotels all along the silk trade route, and as people are passing by, they can rest up, they can enjoy some nice entertainment or drinks and stuff like that, and just be safe, you know. And that's basically what we wanted to echo with this design. So if we go ahead and build on these things, as you can see, it costs 150 wood and 50 stone. So this is not cheap at all, and you have to wait until the Castle Age to get it. So Persia doesn't get their big trade bonus until in the Castle Age, but you'll quickly see why. So once this thing is constructed, you'll see that boom, it has a massive radius. So this radius extends all the way out here, all the way over here, and any units in this radius will get additional movement speed. So you can see all these villagers are moving 30% faster, and they have +8/+8 armor. So this is the same exact bonus that the Ottomans give with their Imperial Age Keep landmark, and unfortunately we couldn't tweak the exact numbers, so this is a pretty busted building in a way. It's a very big part of what makes Persia powerful. And another thing I want to call out here is that notice that the boost is not dropping off. It's not dropping off until this point here. So essentially, like, even after you receive this buff, it'll still take like maybe 5-6 seconds for the effect to actually wear off. Meaning that if you just build 2 caravanserais across the entire map, that's enough to cover the entire map to basically boost all of your trade. This makes Persian trade extremely strong. You do, however, have to reach Castle Age, and you have to invest 150 wood and 50 stone to build these structures. So I think there's a bit of a cost benefit here. I don't know if Persia would always want to take this, but it is very strong when Persia does decide to take it. The last thing I want to show here is, let's start doing the age up. Let me see here. We'll go ahead and get some more berries, and I'll have these guys start building the next landmark here. So for your Age 4 landmarks, we have the Ali Kapu Palace and the Shah Abbas Siege Factory. Shah Abbas is famously the Safavid Shah, who was famous for basically modernizing the Persian military, and this is like in the 1500s, so much later period, like the late medieval period. And what this echoes basically his like gunpowder reforms, and what it does is it trains siege units that only cost gold with a 25% discount, and it can train the unique Zarak siege camel. So I want to show you guys what that does in just a moment. The other building is the Ali Kapu Palace. It trains batches of units at a discount. Ali Kapu is basically the big famous palace of the Safavid dynasty, and it trains groups of units. It's very similar to the English Age 4 landmark, which the name is escaping me right now. I don't remember what the English landmark was called. What's it called? Damn. You know what I'm talking about. It's the one that's not the Berkshire or Berkshire. It's the one that trains group batches of units as well. So same thing. You're training batches of units. Not super interesting in this case, but it also very strong in its own right. We're gonna go ahead and build the Shah Abbas siege factory. This asset also comes from the campaign for the Sultan's Ascend. So I'll show that off to you guys in just a moment. I want to show off the next age of techs while we're waiting for that. So in the Gunishapur, in any kind of divan, military divan, we can get the Shamshir, which is your Age 3 unique tech, military tech. Shamshirs were Persian swords, and it increases the Daylami attack speed by 50%. So when you research this, we're going to see that these guys, these Daylamites will go from axes to little scimitar-looking swords with 50% increased damage, which basically puts them on par with, say, like an Abbasid Ghulam. Essentially, it's like a poor man's Abbasid Ghulam. Because keep in mind, Daylamites are cheaper. They're actually 20 food cheaper than a regular man-at-arms, and they do have bonus damage against light infantry, all light infantry. That's spearmen, archers, crossbowmen. They have bonus damage against all of them. So a very, very powerful unit if you get all these upgrades. On the other side here is the crop sharing. This is the econ upgrade that you can get in Age 3. Farms are 33% cheaper, perfect for when you're doing your farm transition in the middle of the game. And now when we finally got to the Imperial Age, we're going to take a look at this. The Imperial Domain. There's no longer a limit to the number of divans that you can build. So normally you can only build one divan per age. Once you get this tech, you can build divans wherever. So basically, if you're gathering like berries over here, it's still a good idea to basically just like also spam a Devon of Commerce, and then boom, you can actually boost your gathering speed the entire time as well. So this is great for your late game economy. And then you can see here we're still in the Ilkhanid dynasty, so I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade us to the Safavid dynasty. 600 food and 1400 gold. You do have to pay a pretty penny to get to that point, to pay it all up front, but once you do, you get all of your units in the Imperial Age all at once. So it's a very, very powerful technology. And then we're gonna take a look on the other side here. In the for the military in the Imperial Age, you get the Parthian shot technology. This is a reference to, of course, the Parthians, who were one of Rome's famous rivals back in the ancient era. And this is just echoing that basically your horse archers, your Kizilbashes, can now shoot while moving the same way that Mongolai do. So as you can imagine, since they're already pretty damn powerful, they deal a lot of damage, they have a lot of movement speed, much faster than the Mongolai. In fact, this is a very powerful technology in the Imperial Age. You can now start doing Mongolai run-throughs with your Kizilbashes the same way that you might do with Mongols, which is, kind of on point, because that's what, I mean, the Turks were kind of doing that before the Mongols they were doing that before the Mongols made it cool, you know what I mean? And then finally, the other unique tech for this civilization, for military tech for this civilization, is the Tofangchi. Tofangchi were the famous musketeers of the Safavid dynasty. And this tech is basically a reference to that. We didn't quite want to give this civilization another unique unit, considering that there's so many unique units already for this civilization. So instead, this is just a tech that will boost your hand cannoneers with 10% additional attack speed and 10% additional movement speed, making your Persian hand cannoneers in the late game very, very, very strong. So very, very powerful late game econ and military tech civilization with a lot of interesting options in the early game as well. There is another unit here which looks like a cataphract that I did not talk about. It's a cataphract with a lance, which is interesting. You might note that regular cataphracts from the Byzantines don't have lances because they can't do charge. They have to do the ability, the trample ability to charge. The Persians don't have that. They have the Savar. Savars are the Persian version of the knight. It's almost as tanky as a cataphract, almost, not quite. But it's very health dense. It's got a decent amount of armor, and it can do a charge attack. and it's got a high sword damage, but mostly it does plus 13 damage versus heavy units. So it's a knight that specifically, or like a lighter cataphract that specifically counters heavy units. So a very, very powerful H3 unit, even made even more powerful in the Imperial Age. Obviously, the Byzantines are very famous for the cataphracts, but where did they get the cataphracts from? They got them from the Persians. They basically just copied what the Sassanids were doing, and that's why we see both of these civilizations having a cataphract type unit. It just wouldn't feel right if the Byzantines had cataphracts and we didn't have something like that for the Persians as well. This is also an AOE 2 unit, if you guys are familiar with that. And then let's take a look at the Shah Abbas Siege Factory. So you can see all of these units are costing gold, and we're going to go ahead and build some Zambaraks over here. And you know what? I want to boost the production speed of that, so we're gonna go ahead and build a Devon of War right next to it. And you can see here right now it's taking what, 23 seconds to build these guys. I'm gonna go ahead and boost the production speed. It's now taking 9 seconds to boost these guys, so to build these guys. So this is crazy fast. And as you can see here, we can have the Zambarak fighting against these Kizilbashes that Hussein has idled in front of my base. And Zambaraks have an interesting ability. They can deploy a Pavis, which looks ridiculous when I do it, because now there's a tiny little shield in front of this little camel here. But what it does is it gives the Zambarak a much stronger ranged armor defense, meaning that if you have a group of these guys and you're trying to siege down a keep, you can run underneath that keep, put up your Pavis, and then just siege it down. One of the reasons why we designed it like that is because the Zambarak, the stat-wise, it is almost exactly the same as a Japanese Ozutsu, which is the giant hand cannon dude that kind of like sieges buildings from afar, which is kind of a ridiculous unit. This unit, since it's on a camel, it has the camel debuff. It moves faster than a regular Ozutsu. It has way less armor though, but to make up for that, and it also has way less range. But to make up for that, you have the Pavis. So it forces players to do a little bit more effort on their micro. But it's a very, very powerful unit otherwise. And I think it's a pretty exciting concept. I would love to see, you know, aside from just in the modding context, like a unit like this be made in the regular game. I want to see now. Okay, as you can see, I don't think Zambaraks are meant to go against horse archers, so I am kind of getting. Oh, actually, never mind. I'm actually wrecking his face. Okay. That was a lot of damage. God damn. Okay. Okay, Zambaraks. Let's see if we can like pump out some of these guys for the to kill some buildings. I'll do that too. I mean they are an anti-building unit, so we'll send them out. I want to see if there's anything else I'm missing here. Oh, one thing I want to call out here is the text that you get in the blacksmith. I can also boost that with my Devon of War. So you can see here it's now taking 24 seconds, which I think that usually takes like a minute or something like that. And we're gonna go ahead and start sieging his Hussein's Devon of Commerce as well. So just show you guys how much damage these guys can dish out. Just absolute destruction here. I mean, this is a unique unit that's tied to a landmark that you can only get in the Imperial Age. So it's pretty powerful, but I mean, it's hard to access this kind of building anyway. So, sorry, this kind of unit anyway. So it kind of makes sense. And if we set up the shield, we'll see how little damage that this town center is doing to my Zambarak here. Boom! You can see like hardly anything. 3 damage per pop. Yeah, I'm not even feeling it. I can stand here indefinitely and just like siege his villagers down. Okay, cool. Well, I think that is all for this civilization. I'll build a keep, and I'll also build the university. I don't think there's anything else I really need to cover here. I guess I'll talk briefly about like some strategy. So we've done some playtests. We've invited some folks, some pro players to try this civilization out. Some interesting things I've seen so far is one, Dalamite spam in the feudal age, just because it's a very powerful man-at-arms, counters pretty much all feudal age units except for horsemen. Very, very, very powerful. If you start massing these guys, it's very hard to stop them, and that's one of the things I like about the Civ is that there's so much versatility. You have a lot of economic potential, and you also have a lot of military potential if you want to rush instead of boom. And that's kind of the principle behind this design. Safavids give plus 19%, so plus 19% gather rate bonus, but you have to wait until you get to the Imperial Age and reach the Safavid dynasty. So is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, if you're in a team game, if you're in an FFA and you reach this state in the game, then yeah, power to be. Plus 19% for all the gathering is ridiculous. But if you're waiting for this in a 1v1, it might not be worth it, right? You're going to be falling behind because this civilization doesn't have explicit gathering bonuses aside from that. I mean, aside from the Devons, I guess. Yeah, the other thing I saw that was pretty good is Kizzlebashes. Because they're so mobile, if you decide to go into early trade, you can use your Kizzlebashes to easily protect that trade. If the enemy makes horsemen or knights against you to try to raid your trade, the Kizzlebash can basically put a stop to that because they counter melee units. So that's kind of the design behind the Kizzlebash. However, Kizzlebashes do cost all 3 resources. They're quite expensive, so you do have to kind of like pay a pretty penny to secure your trade, and maybe it's not worth it. I don't know yet. The Assassin Brotherhood, I haven't seen anyone actually try to use this landmark yet, but in principle, like being able to boom and then just like see the entire map and just spawn dudes that will just like pop up and just start killing people is hilarious. Very, I don't know, a little bit gimmicky, I guess. Like, if you're not using this regularly, if you forget to spawn your assassins regularly, it's not producing as much value as just having plus 150% production on your town center, for instance. So, not necessarily a broken landmark, I think, and I would love to see how players treat this. And no university techs worth talking about. I think for all the other units in the game, it's like relatively straightforward. Obviously, in the Imperial Age, you're going to want to spam hand cannoneers. Those are going to be super strong for you. You're going to want to raid with Kizzlebashes. Archer spam in the Feudal Age if you decide to get the Commanderan tech. Very, very powerful. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. And I really hope you guys try out this Civ and have some fun with it. If you guys do play a game, especially if you play like a competitive 1v1 match or even a competitive team match, like let me know. Like it doesn't matter what level you are. I would love to spectate the game and just cast it. I would love to see just like how other players are making decisions and like challenging themselves with like trying to learn a modded Civ. Admittedly, like, you know, as with every modded Civ, like there's gonna be a little bit more jank than you see in a, you know, in the official Civs. But we tried our best to design it in a way that is as intuitive and as like comfortable with the existing Civ designs as possible, while also being like very, very unique in its own right. I don't think any Civ will play quite like this. And yeah, I think that's super exciting. That's all from me, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay frosty, stay chilly.